Hello, TikTok. I'm going live tonight for a couple different reasons. First of all, because the Tethering ebook is only $2.99 for the holiday season. And by holiday, I mean Valentine's Day, which really doesn't seem like a holiday, but that's okay. We're going to go with it. The other reason that I've gone live tonight, two reasons actually. One, I wanted to talk about the spell language in the Tethering and in the Bryan Adams series and how I've created my spell languages throughout my different books. This one is my husband. Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Oh my
Sorry.
God, you're such a boob. This boob right here is my husband. And the reason I have him here with me today is because he actually helped me create the spell language for the Tethering. I did end up doing all of the spell languages on my own for Bryan Adams because I wanted to take a little bit more of a fun approach. Also, another reason that we're doing this video together is because I have decided that I need to stop hiding from the brain injury and pretending that it never happened. If you've never heard the story, I got a 30-foot long pole dropped on my head a while ago. And I've done a lot of treatments and speech therapy, which is weird for an actor and author to go to speech therapy, but it helped a lot. But there are certain things like losing words that happen sometimes. So I stepped away from podcasting and doing a lot of videos and things like that because it's hard to admit that I have problems with aphasia now. But I've decided that hiding the fact that I have a brain injury doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve my books. And honestly, it doesn't serve anyone else who has a brain injury because people with brain injuries exist. And pretending that I don't have one does not serve the other people in the community who are dealing with this. Now, my compensatory strategy for my brain injury when I do things like live recordings like this is going to be have this one with me because these videos are going to get posted on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and they are going to get posted without any editing, which means that if I lose my words, if I forget what I'm saying entirely, because that happens with brain injuries, then I have this one as my compensatory strategy to tell me what I'm supposed to be saying. So this is Christopher, spellmaker and compensatory strategy and husband.
Hi.
And the one who feeds me. So we like him.
Thank you.
Now, you feed me, so I have to like
do.
you. For the spell language for the Tethering, if you don't know anything about the Tethering is one of my contemporary fantasy books. It's a clean fantasy. It has soul-binding love and magic and romance. And I really wanted it to have a very structured spell language because in the Tethering series, there is a very formal set of education that the protagonists are receiving. They're basically undergoing an apprenticeship. So I wanted there to be very specific books that they learn from, very specific spell languages that they use. Oh, hi, if you're here, come on in, drop a comment, say hi, post a like on the video. Also, if you have any friends who are interested in spell languages or brain injuries, tag them in the comments so that they can find this video too. Anyway, so for those spell languages, I wanted it to be very structured. I wanted it to make sense from one point to the other what the spells were. Even pre-brain injury, foreign languages have never been my thing. It is not the way that it works. So I went to this one. Hi, babe. Everything's inverted on the camera, so it feels very weird if I do that.
Yeah, but notice how everything's inverted, but the text is correct. So it's...
I don't
And this
understand.
is off mirror mode, which it said to put mirror mode on in order to not have people read backwards, but let us know if that's reading backwards, because it reads right to us in the screen.
Drop a comment, let us know if it's right.
Yeah.
So for the spell language, and sorry about that for the people who are watching this video later. For the spell language, I wanted something that was Latin-based. And so I enlisted this one to create the spells. So tell them about the process of how you created the spells.
Okay, so first of all, can I show them this screen?
Yeah, show them the...
So this was like the madness. I know the ring light's going to catch a lot of it, but you can see that there was a lot of like building of these words that went on. So
even if you're an author, Excel is still your friend.
Yeah,
so
oh yes.
It's actually, Excel is really, really your friend.
Right. Well,
if you want to keep track of things.
Well, especially when you start doing advertising and stuff, you've got to have Excel. You have to do Excel. Anyway, so I already knew a little bit about the pronunciation of Latin because of all of my vocal training. I was an opera major in college for a little while. I did a lot of choir. But so that came into play for a lot of it. As if you've been following Megan for a while, we do a read aloud edit portion of her books all the time. So these had to sound good, and that was important. That's what I'm getting to. But what I thanks, yeah, I know.
I married him.
Yeah, you did.
If you're just now joining the video, we are talking about the creation of the spell languages for the Tethering series, and later we'll talk a little bit about Bryan Adams. So drop a like, drop a comment so we know you're here. Keep going.
But just okay, thank you. For instance, one of the spells that gets used a lot in this book, and actually gets used in the Chronicles of Mackie Trent, and gets used in the Tale of Bryan Adams, is Primorgo. And the way that one was built is we wanted to do something that meant like protection, and a protection of one person in particular. And so we were like, okay, so there's Privus, which is single. We also had a couple of other words that were contenders. And then Murus is protection. Intego means to cover, to protect. So I combined the PRI of Privus and the MUR of Murus, and then the GO and Intego, and so it was a combination of three separate words that put together means to cover or protect a single person or single entity. So that's how that came together. And it was that way for every single word that we used. And this isn't like Harry Potter where they learn like 3 spells and Harry's still using Expelliarmus throughout the entire book. I know that was...
Okay, but anyway. Much as the series we're not going to endorse, it makes sense that he just uses that one because it's his backup.
Right. Well,
if you're here for the video, share it with your friends, drop a comment, drop a post, or like if you're watching this live. If you're not watching this live, still drop a comment and a like wherever you are.
But my point is that it wasn't just like a handful of spells. Like there was a spell for almost everything that they wanted to accomplish in this book. So there was a lot. And like there's pages upon pages of
because
notes.
I wasn't the one creating the spells, I just got to sit around and daydream and be like, this is what I want my spell to do, and then pass it to this one, and then this one had to make spells. I didn't feel the need to limit the number of spells I had because I could just make this one do all the work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work.
So I would get to the end of my writing day and I'd say, hey babe, because that's what you do when you want your husband to do something for you. Hey babe, I came up with 15 new spells I need while I was writing today. So can I have those by the end of day tomorrow? And then he'd panic and make a bunch of spells for me. And this went on for 4 books in the series, and we're still married. There's a lot of things where I look at us, I'm like, and we're still married.
And did you talk about the fact that this was your first book?
Yes. The Tethering was actually my first book.
She started writing it in 2011.
It went through 4 different publishing contracts before it finally got published. There was FBI involvement at one point. Let me know if you want to hear the story about the FBI being involved in publishing my book.
Mess.
Because that's a fun one.
It's not often that the writing world is more messed up than the acting world, but that was one of those times.
That was one of those times. That was one of those truly dramatic times when the FBI gets involved in publishing.
Yeah.
Thanks, FBI, for doing me a solid there. Now, once we were further into the series, there was actually a time when there are centaurs that come into the world. And because they are a different species, I wanted them to have a different spell language because it didn't make sense to me that centaurs and wizards would use the same kind of magic. Welcome if you're just here. Drop a like, drop a comment,
and
say
share the live. Let's get more people in here.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Let's have people learn that you do not have to be a linguist to build a language. Some people swear by that. You really don't. It just needs to sound good. It needs to look good on paper. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, babe. So,
but we're actors and you're a writer. Like we deal in language. That's what we do. So
yeah, that's true. Which is really funny when you have a
linguist.
brain injury and 2 kinds of aphasia. Like perfect. So
you You're still brilliant.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
When we got to the centaurs, I wanted a different kind of spell language. So I, like the jerk that I am, went to this one and was like, babe, I want the centaur spells to sound different, babe. Can you help me with that?
Yeah.
No more instruction than that. And this one decides that.
Oh, what was it? That was my decision?
That was your decision.
Yeah,
you deserve a lot of credit for
past
that.
self. You're a moron.
Good for you.
Oh, sheesh.
Anyway, so this one decided he wanted to base the spells on Gaelic.
Irish Gaelic.
So
There's also English Gaelic.
Yeah, so he dove into Gaelic and created that spell language for the centaurs.
Do I have a brother, a sister, best friend, perhaps, like me?
Oh, you want one of him? I'm sorry. This one is, my husband is a one-of-a-kind item.
Thanks.
I picked him up at a craft fair.
Yeah.
They actually promised me that they broke the mold after they made him, so unfortunately, there is not another one of these available.
My sister's
for purchase. She's taken.
Yeah, she is taken.
And I don't think she'd go for the creating a
No.
Gaelic spell language.
No, but she does have 2 masters in psych, so she's also
useful, but not quite as pliable.
She's smarter than I am. I'm just more
We'll
gullible.
get back to the Gaelic.
So yeah, I don't even remember, because I looked at there was a resource that I found that actually gave you like a very close approximation of what the pronunciation would be. So like, yeah, I found the best example, a spell that gets used a lot by wizards and centaurs, but it is a centaur spell, is oh, thanks.
Oh, he does also cook.
Oh, the salsa video.
The salsa, if you haven't seen the salsa video, it's on all of my pages. This one makes me fresh tomatillo salsa.
I do.
But he also makes me all my meals every day, so...
I like cooking.
Yeah.
I really like cooking, and she's not good at it, so it just makes sense.
Basically, I'm confessing on TikTok that this one is amazing, and I would starve to death without him.
You wouldn't. You'd be fine.
He's great.
So anyway, back to the spell that gets used, I think, more than any other from the centaurs is Talam Dalask, right? And Talam, I hope I'm pronouncing that somewhat close to right, but Talam means earth or soil, and they are very, very bound by nature, the centaurs. So we decided, or maybe that was just you decided, you wanted them to call to the earth for all of their magic. So almost every spell begins with Talam. And then Dalask means more or less red whip. So they're calling to the earth to conjure this red whip from whatever they used. In the world of the tethering, it's not just wands. Sometimes people use rings or necklaces in order to channel their magic.
It's more of, instead of a...
talisman.
Instead of a phallic piece of wood being...
Some wizards still have that nice
Yeah, but
wooden...
Instead of a phallic piece of wood being the magical object.
Hey, happy Black History Month. Yes, thank you.
Yay!
Yeah, I mean, I know that's not really what we're talking about, but yes, let's please not forget about that this month. I wish there were more than a month a year, but you know.
Different topic,
we
topic.
will keep changing and growing. What?
Different topic.
No, yeah, you're right.
Okay, so instead of having a wooden phallus be the object of magic, there are talismans, so you can have many different things be used in magic. So you can have like a ring, a necklace, one person has a staff, wrist cuffs, so it's really like whatever suits that wizard's vibe they can go with. For the centaurs, they don't use talisman because they are more connected to the earth, so it's sort of, the centaurs can teach wizards their magic, but it's never gonna quite work right, because they are different species. So crossing those magical lines was a pretty complicated thing, and I'm very grateful that I had this one's help for it.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about the spell language and the tethering?
No, not really, but something cool about the talismans that I don't know that you would ever touch on, and maybe I'm just really nerdy, so I like it, is that the talismans, stop it, the talismans, the more the talismans are used, the more powerful they become, the more they get used to magic. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it makes, so for the tethering series, basically a talisman is something to pull magic just far away from enough from your body that it's not going to hurt you. So think of it sort of like an electrical conductor. You don't want the electricity going through you. You want it going through, you know, your cell phone, your TV, something that's not your body. And so in the tethering series, as an object becomes used more, it becomes a better conduit. So you can do stronger spells with it. So it's not like an emotional bond or that the talisman is actually learning spells. It's just that it becomes more adept at transmitting magic. If you're new at the video, drop a like, drop a comment, share. We're doing spell languages. The tethering's only $2.99 for a limited time. If you're watching the recording of this, sorry, that sale no longer counts. There will be another one. Continuing on. So that was the spell language for the tethering. Now, when I got to the Tale of Bryan Adams, I decided I didn't want to go quite so structured because Bryan Adams is not a structured person. The Tale of Bryan Adams starts with how I magically messed up my life in 4 freaking days. If you ever give a book a title that long, I will warn you that uploading it onto some retailer sites is a little bit difficult. But because of the way the magic works in Bryan's world and because of Bryan's personality as a person and the way he uses magic, I wanted it to be a little more freeform. So I decided instead to have, this is going to sound like very artsy of me, which is not who I am as a person or a writer. But I wanted it to
read
be,
and you'll agree with me. She is,
but I wanted it to be what felt right. So I wanted it to be what felt like these syllables would make this spell happen. And so I did that, and it is all made up. So like one of the spells is Milkawa.
That's the one I was thinking of.
And it's because it makes something grow. It's a growth spell. And it feels very satisfying in my mouth. Milkawa. It feels powerful. It feels earthy. It doesn't mean anything. It's not derived from any language. I literally typed it down and was like, oh yeah, I like that. Because that's how things work.
And then
for
she
Bryan.
would make me pronounce them and be like, how would you say this? And I would say it and she'd be like, oh, that's not how it's said. And then she would either change it or she'd be like, you're wrong. And then we'd move on.
I am not. This one here is very good with IPA. And so he's very good with...
I love a good IPA.
International Phonetic Alphabet, if you are not a word nerd.
Again, opera, we had to study it because it goes across all languages. So, or most... Yeah, no, it goes across all languages. Yeah.
I don't know. So he's very good at taking words and like as they're broken out and pronouncing them, even if he has no idea what they are. So he looks at words differently than I do. I look more at the shape of them. He looks at the pieces. So I'd be like, hey, what does this say? And he'd be like, that is not what that says. And sometimes I'd be like, I don't care. It is what it is to me. And if other people pronounce it differently, that's their right. And sometimes I would change it because he's like, no, that literally isn't it. So in going through writing the Bryan Adams series, I created another giant spreadsheet, much like the tethering spreadsheet, where it was just creating all of these spells. And then I broke them down into what the spell's functions were. So is it an attack spell? Is it a defense spell? Is it fire? And categorize them within that so that I made sure I wasn't creating 2 spells that did things too similarly. Like, I don't need 2 different spells to call lightning down from the sky to electrocute a bad guy. That's not practical. I don't need 2 different ones for that. And so it was mostly keeping track of what the functions were and making sure I didn't create any doubles in that process.
Do you remember the name of that spell? I do.
Not a clue.
Erunca. Erunca.
Oh yeah, because it's like the unka, like it feels like you're hitting something. Because it's like Erunca.
It works.
It's like erupting and then it feels like you're hitting something.
Okay.
Erunca, like you're hitting a wall.
Sure.
And that's why I liked it, because I liked the sound of it. So it was a very, very different kind of spell creation for that one. I did... Wait, what's the spell from the tethering that I pulled over? Primorgo. We already said that. Ooh, brain injuries are fun.
That's okay.
So I did pull over Primorgo from the tethering series into Bryant. And that spell actually continues into the Maggie Trent series, the Chronicles of Maggie Trent. That starts with the Girl Without Magic.
Yes.
And that was back to this one for the spell work.
Really?
Was it not?
No.
I wrote the spells for that?
Yeah. Yeah, you wrote the spells. So the only series that I really had a heavy hand in was the tethering.
I have no memory of that.
Well, I don't remember there being a lot of spell language per se in the Maggie series. I need to go back and reread those
There is in
books.
book 1.
Okay.
There's like an epic
So
battle.
the Wanderers. Yeah, but they're using spell language?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They light people on fire.
I know. They freeze the lake and people have their faces shaved off. Yeah. It's
there is some face shaving.
There's a lot of, yeah.
That one got a little bloody. Sorry about that. But yeah, so apparently I wrote the spells for that one too.
I think you did, yeah.
I wish that I could like have a button and then when I pressed it would just be like traumatic brain injury alert and it would just flash over my head, but that's too complicated.
One of the really cool mechanics of that series is the fact that no matter what world, because it's a portal fantasy, Maggie Trent, and so no matter what world they go into, the spell that they know.
Thank you for liking the video. I like seeing the little hearts
you.
pop up the side. I love it. It just goes blue.
But the spell for creating shelter, so that would be Primorgo, your shield spell, is the same across all realms. Spells for
it's
fire.
Shelter, fire, and water are always the same no matter what world they hop to. And when we say world hopping, it's almost Doctor Who like, where there's a world of the week. So there is a primary world, the Siren's Realm, where the characters live in Maggie Trent, and then they visit other worlds. And so it's a matter of like figuring out how magic. I love the little hearts.
I know.
It's a matter of
is it Sugar Gliders just liking it over and over again? Because please keep doing that. I love it. I also love Sugar Gliders.
So it's a matter of them traveling to different worlds, and each time they go to a different world, they have to figure out how the magic works again. So the spell language is a little different. The mechanics of spells are a little different. Mm-hmm. The rules of what you can and can't do without getting yourself killed are a little bit different. So the spell creation for those books, which apparently I did, thanks for reminding me.
I think so, yeah.
Well,
pretty sure you did.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Was very different. The rest of my series, there haven't been a lot of spell creations for them because those are the tethering, which is $2.99 for a limited time if you're watching this video live. If not, sorry. Has a lot of magical spells. Obviously, the Tale of Bryan Adams has a lot of magic in it. The Chronicles of Maggie Trent has magic in it, but the rest of my books don't really have that kind of spell language element. Mm-hmm. There was some word creation that went into the world of Ilbrea, which is the NL Ilbrea series and the Guilds of Ilbrea series. But those are like
Croylock.
Yeah, so there's like Croylock, which is an evil monster with a heart of stone that's built of other dead monster bits. Mm-hmm. That was the easiest way to explain it.
Cash.
There's a lot better explanation in the book, but like that's basically it.
Yeah.
But then most of the words that I made up for the tethering, or at least the most commonly used word that I get told about in the tethering with people using it back to me, which I think is hilarious when I get messages with it. But the most common word in the tethering that I created is chiving. And that's another word.
Ember and Stone.
Oh, Ember and Stone.
Sorry. There's the brain injury.
Yeah, brain injuries are fun.
Yeah.
And this is why I have you here.
Well, when you kept saying tethering, I was like, Conniukes? Are people saying Conniukes a lot?
So if you are new to the video or, you have a brain injury like me and have forgotten, because I did have a traumatic brain injury, I flip words a lot these days. And I also tend to forget where I am in speaking. So this is my compensatory strategy / husband here for support, and also because I can do this to his face.
Well, just remember that just because an illness or a disability is invisible doesn't make it less real.
Thank you for that, babe. I like you
too. I love you.
I like your support.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I should stay married to you.
This is a great idea. 20 years later.
Yeah, we're stuck. Can't get out of it now.
You can. But...
You don't know how to log into our bank account.
Oh,
I can't feed myself, so can't get out of it now. Right. Yeah, yes, yay for Chris. He really is the best. I would be doomed.
Thanks.
If you like my books, really, it's this one keeping me alive long enough to write them. That's really what it boils down to.
I'll take that credit.
Anyway, so back to chiving, which is an Ember and Stone and Guilds of Ilbrea, not the tethering. Thanks for that, babe.
You're welcome.
is chiving. And much like in the Bryan Adams series, I wanted it to feel right in my mouth. And I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on TikTok Live. I don't know what the
I just don't.
what the rules are.
Yeah.
But it's FCKING is what it really is. And so chiving, take a moment and say the F one. Then take a moment and say chiving. It has that same kind of Oh, sorry. We'll do it again. Effing. Chiving. It has that same kind of spat satisfaction where like you can say it like chiving. It has that plosive, guttural, like it feels good in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I really wanted for the world of Ilbrea.
Yes, well done.
Yes. Is that what I really wanted for that word. And there are some other words in that world. Pound, fray, lots of other things like that. But the one that I sometimes get messages from readers, which I always love getting messages from readers and emails and all those things. I love it. Reach out to me.
And she responds to all of them too.
Yeah, well, because I like it when people reach out to me. And
so I'm just saying, don't think, like, I know some people might be like, I'm not going to email this author because they'll never get, but she does. She answers everything.
No, I love it. If you have questions about the books or just want to cry over me killing your favorite character, like, please let me know. Message me. But
if we ever get a divorce, that'll be why.
Because I killed your favorite character.
No, not that one, because I've come to terms with that. But there is a character in Guilds that I said, if you touch that character, that's it. We're done.
Mwahaha. If I ever want to get rid of him, I'll kill his favorite character. But I have no idea what I was talking about.
I'm sorry. Oh, if you want to like reach out to you. To
if you want to reach out to me, I get emails from a lot of people. And it'll say, like, in the email, they'll use chiving as a word.
I do it all the time.
And I think it's one of the coolest things. Like, I've gotten some fan art before, and fan art is amazing. Oh. But people repeating made-up words back to me like it's part of the actual language is so satisfying. I love it when I hear people say chiving. And in the Bryan Adams series, which starts with, "Hi, magically messed up my life in 4 friggin' days." Aw, thanks. Sugar Glider said, "I'm so sweet." Not necessarily true, but I will take it.
No, so we'll take it.
We'll take it. But in that series, because it's a first person and because Bryan Adams' brain works a lot like mine, he gives people who he doesn't know their name names as he goes in his head. And one of the people that he meets, he dubs Sniffer McDead Dog. That is his name for this person, is Sniffer McDead Dog.
Is he a person? He's a creature.
Close enough. He has thoughts. He has feelings.
But yeah, but so do our cats.
And they're people too.
Okay.
So Sniffer McDead Dog, who has thoughts and feelings and is a person. I had someone, I was asking about swag. What swag do my readers want? Do they want Ilbrea swag, Tethering swag, Bryan Adams swag? And it was actually really cool because one of the readers, I did not type Sniffer McDead Dog first. This one did not type Sniffer McDead Dog first.
No, ow.
But she typed like a picture of Sniffer McDead Dog.
And had it capitalized in all the right places, too.
She remembered Sniffer McDead Dog. And that was such a cool moment for me to be like, wait a second. This madness that is in my head that goes to Brian's head and creates things like Sniffer McDead Dog actually made an impression on a reader enough that they weren't just like, oh yeah, that character with a funny name. Like, they remembered what it was. And that was really cool to me. Yeah, I don't know what else we have to say about made-up words in our books. We covered the tethering, which is only $2.99.
Thank you for calling them our books. That's very sweet.
Well, I'd be doomed without you, so here you are.
Here I am.
Stuck with me. So we have the spells that Chris did on the tethering. We have the spells that I did on Brian. We have some fun made-up swear words in Ilbrea. Also, if you are a huge swag fan, the reason that Sniffer McDead Dog came up is because I want to create more swag for the swag shop, and I got paralyzed with too many choices of what series, what items, character arts, quotes, things from the world. What do we want to do? And there were too many choices. So if you are a swag person and you have something where you're like, I want a throw pillow with Enna on it, let me know, because that would be really cool. I mean, actually, I kind of like that idea. But I don't know if that's just me, and I'm not going to follow through with it because there are 10 other ideas that I have that could also be cool. So save me from myself, from going down the rabbit hole of indecision and never making it happen. And just let me know what it is you want. The woman who brought up Sniffer McDead really thought a graffiti style image of him on a t-shirt would be cool.
Oh, it wasn't just him on a t-shirt, and I don't think this is giving anything away. In Bryant, one of the characters is a new seer, so she can see things the way that the other characters in the book can't, because that is the gift that she has. And so what the reader said was that having a graffiti style of the way that most people see Sniffer McDuck versus the way that that particular character sees him would be really neat to have it like split in half. And I think that's fascinating.
Or like a fade to it. But anyway, if you have any ideas for things like that, let me know. I love hearing readers' ideas about my books and their comments on their experience with my books. If I break your heart in my books, I am sorry, but
Are you?
No, I'm not really sorry that I broke your heart, but I will sympathize with your despair, because usually when people are crying about the characters I kill in my books, I cried when I killed them. So, we can have that joint experience.
I was there when,
But I think that's it. I think we have it.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining me. If you are watching the live version, thank you for having joined us on the inaugural Chris and Megan. Thank you for being my compensatory strategy for a brain injury video. If you are watching this afterwards, then share the video, like, comment, reach out to me, whatever it is. I'm sorry that we're going to have comments of the live video on this, but I have made the decision that these are not going to be edited, so I don't want to take out my brain injury mistakes. And because I am not taking out the brain injury mistakes of flipping my series around and forgetting what I'm talking about, I think if I edit out the times that I'm talking to the people who are live, I think that it'll make it less authentic, and it'll give me a cheat to be able to pretend that the brain injury isn't affecting me speaking on camera, and that is not what I want. I want to be honest with the brain injury and honest with the process, and hopefully my journey will help other people. But if nothing else, pretending that the brain injury doesn't exist has not served me in the 18 months that I've had it. It has not served other people who are suffering from brain injuries. There is no benefit to me hiding it. It is what it is. I have a traumatic brain injury. It's not going away. I have aphasia. That's not going away either. So it is time to embrace it. And with this one by my side, interpreting when I lose what I'm doing, and also letting me squish his mushy face, because I'm on the front facing camera right now, so I can see myself doing this to him. And I am a mean wife who puts my husband on camera and does things like that to his face.
Sugar Glider's right. You're so sweet.
On the gym. But thank you for joining me on this journey, whether it is live or in another video. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, all of those wonderful things so that we can keep sharing this video together. At this point, I honestly have no idea what the topic is for next time, but I will let you know.
I'll figure it out.
And in the meantime, enjoy some lovely reading, and may the weather be ever in your favor.
Yes.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Ah, good night. We made it.
I keep waving like off camera.